We call them young, but their voices are very seasoned, very lyrical, and incredibly brave. And without a hint of doubt, I can honestly say that the voices that you're about to hear are among the boldest and most authentic in contemporary Mizo poetry. I've been in the same literary circle with them for the past several years, and I've seen and know that they are not just poets on paper. They are fearless advocates for justice and for what is right. And for that, I'm very proud and honored to be sharing the stage with them at the second edition of Mizoram Literature Festival. Casey is here. Yeah, could you please come on stage? Yes. One of the poets who will be doing the reading, Ramlo, he was on his way from Lunglei in the morning, and I think he just reached his house just some few minutes back, and he's on his way right now. So I think he can join us whenever he arrived. First, I'd like to introduce you to Ben Zongte, who is a queer Mizo poet, and as he describes himself, he writes self-indulgent poems the way boomers take selfies, reluctantly in bad lighting, and always seems to disappear when asked to read them. So his younger poems have featured in the Sentinel and other few online magazines, and Ben has studied creative writing at the British Council in New Delhi. The first poem that I read by Ben was, I think, Evenings in Calcutta. And I kind of immediately fell in love with his writing because how I see Ben's poetry is he has this unique quality to turn the ordinary into something exquisite. Whether he's writing about a cup of chai or sari or the fashion in Aizol, his verses are so much, infused with a mellow warmth that kind of gives the smallest details of life a deep sense of significance. And that's why I've always been in love with his poetry. And I think before I introduce the others, I think we should just go ahead with the reading. That would be more, yeah. Let's give a big round of applause for Ben. Yay!
Hello, hello. I want to live on the edge tonight and read 2 Calcutta poems. But if it's any consolation, I do feel like a bit of a renegade to have written so much about Calcutta instead of my own homeland. But it's all I know really, and a poem is a poem anyways, right? So I guess it's not too much harm. I've merged 2 poems. The first part is drawn from my life as a college-going teenager, and the second after I'd left the city and returned unsullied. Here it goes. So both my poems are untitled, the free verses. So, in the evenings of sulphur, how does your tea resemble the city sky? It's true, life has a color here. It is sepia tinted. And when the time comes for you to tell its story, do not just rely on what you've seen and heard from Mr. Ray. Feel through the guise of its lime-stained walls, study the branches in Park Street Cemetery. Perhaps a friend will take you to their house and say, "Come lie down, this bed is over a century old. You must consummate your teenage lust there, spread-eagled. And in your final throes, let out songs of recipe, Ore Baba. Demand for Elish thereafter to see if he's a keeper. Borrow a large book and intend on not returning it. Leave the city, and when you return, make it a point to freeze like Lot's wife." Thank you. The second one. So this is when I've left the city and returned as a mature, somehow, a mature person. And it's a bit of a reconciliation with the city, I guess. So yeah. And then one day, without the weight of that old city, when the world is older than the previous poem, I hope our paths again cross. Under a rioting Calcutta sky, which also is to say we've shifted hues. I hope that day we both take the shape of water and flow freely and wash ourselves off our patina clean. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ben. I think Ben's poetry is very refreshing in the sense that it kind of crosses beyond, cultural boundaries and this, like, as we have just discussed in the previous session, this burden of representation that, just because you're a poet from the north, from Mizoram, you have to write about Mizoram. A Mizo poet can write about Calcutta or, being in Unsullied or anything. So that's really beautiful. Thank you so much, Ben. And next we have Jacqueline Zote, who is a writer who focuses on stories revolving around folklore, social justice, and the human condition. And Jacqueline considers herself a poetic rebel, choosing to express herself through free verse. And her short fiction has been published in Zuban Centerpiece and HarperCollins, The Himalayan Arc, and she has also contributed her short story in the Zuban anthology. I've always known Jacqueline's poetry as a vehicle for social and justice issues, but I think her work now kind of reflects a personal transition after she became a mother, which I can like definitely relate to, because I think her experience as a mother has kind of become a very powerful influence in her poetry, and this kind of adds a layer of intimacy to her still very passionate advocacy. And for that, I'm really proud of what she is still doing as a mother of two. And um, now we will hear from Jacqueline. Please give her a round of applause.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Today I want to read about something that we all need a little bit of, considering the current state of the world, like whatever's happening, like in Gaza and like even in Mizoram and like in all parts of the world. I think we do. One second. I think we all need a little bit of hope to keep us going. So the first poem I'm going to write about is I'm going to read is about hope. I wrote this back in 2022, like shortly after my mom's cancer diagnosis. I also lost my father to cancer, so I think like with Mizoram being like the like a state where like cancer is very predominant, I think like there is a lot of relatability to what I'm going to read. Let me start. About hope. I know something about hope, how it builds you up so high you could almost taste the clouds melting on your tongue like on the last good day your father had. It was the only good day he'd had in a long time. So hope came crawling through the open window, but crept out just as stealthily through the cracks on the door while we all slept that night. How it tried to claw its way back, even as he lay paralyzed on the hospital bed, even as you watched him draw his last breath. I know something about hope, how it distracts you from the problems right in front of your face and makes you look forward to a future that might never even come. How it keeps coming back, like the nagging voices that spit venom in your mother's ears, its bitter taste running down her veins, into her heart, and making a home in her soul. Hope is a seed that grows into seeds of heartbreak, through which bud resentment, bitterness, disillusionment. It is the familiar face in the crowd that ends up belonging to your childhood bully. Hope leaves you with crushed dreams and anger so vile you can taste it, green and biley in your throat. Yet you hold on to it as hard as you can, because hope is the only thing that keeps you going on some days. That's the first piece. And the next one I wrote about like after I had just put my daughter to sleep and I was doom scrolling on Instagram and I saw like these emaciated babies like in hospitals, and like I just couldn't help myself because I just really needed hope to keep myself going as a mother and like as a human being, because like there's nothing else we can do. like just besides that, just beyond creating like a life that instills hope in other people, like making life better one person at a time. So I think that's like that's something I think even Hannah can relate to as a mother. So the next piece I wrote back in 2004. It's called Flecks of Hope. But there, someday you will learn about the world and how cruel it can sometimes be to its children. Bombs, bullets, and beatings. Violence your tiny head could never imagine. But that's a story for another day. Tonight, I wish to hold you closer and dream of a world where I keep you safe forever. Tonight, I will tell you stories of doctors saving lives and teachers knitting dolls for their students, of people helping out and babies surviving to defy all odds, of your grandma who prays over your head while she rocks you to sleep, of how hard your dad is working to give you a better future. Tonight, I will count the blessings I've received in the shape of you. Then I will pray for you to find the flecks of hope that the world hides between its cracks. Thank you.
That's really beautiful, Jacqueline. Thank you so much. I think that beautifully expresses how we have to go on in spite of whatever is happening in the world around us. And yes, as a mother, I definitely really relate to that poem. Next, we have Tatea, who is one of the most prominent voices among Mizo contemporary poets. And he first published his poetry collection back in 2021 and his second book in 2023. And he has also worked on several books as an editor, and he is currently pursuing his PhD degree in the Department of Political Science in Mizoram University. And the thing with Tatea's poetry is that apart from its undeniable, beautiful artistry, it is equally defined by its sharp social consciousness and his spirit of political defiance, I think. And I've always been a big fan of his Mizo poems because he's so good with wordplays, especially in poems where he deals with themes of romance and love. But I don't think he's reading those today. But like I've said before, his poems are very like powerful regarding. They always have this sharp social and political consciousness about them. Let's give it up for Tatea.
So sorry, Hannah, because I'll not be reading those Mizo's love poetries. Actually, this poem is requested. One right-wing students' union told me to write about Zongte. So Zongte is actually a way of life that the Mizo people adheres to. Then that they try to achieve that life, But so this is what I sent to that to that student union. Okay, it's called "I Don't Care for It." I don't care for Nasin Kut, Chapchar Kut, or any other Kut. If our clothes exoticize and our culture mysticize, restraining us and our ways of life, I don't care for them at all. There is no Zonunmoy in it. I don't care for churches. If there is Christian infighting or denomination championing, no spirits of crusaders ever holy, just for their glories solely. I don't care for it at all. There is no Zonunmoy, I know. I don't care for government policies to uplift the poor they light, whether it is mouth of richness, of sorting, or sorting of prosperity promise. If it's empty promises by deceitful politicians, I don't care for it at all. There is no Zonunmoy, dia echi da in the act. I don't care for law enforcers or civil society organizations. If a widow's son is beaten to death and her house stoned to dust, stone first by he with sin, I don't care for them at all if there is no Zonunmoy in their deed. I don't care for the silent city if bribes are taken silently by those who worship the horned one. Silent cause no one voice the truth. Afraid to stand, afraid of mi poisoy, I don't care for all of it. There is no Zonunmoy in being voiceless. I don't care for even Zonunmoy itself. If it's constrained just for a single group, if it cannot include all the people of Zo, all the sub and vi, and he, him, she, her, they, them, for that matter. I don't care for it if it cannot include all. Why not let Zonet Moi be a way of life for all, a holistic, inclusive, altruistic, noble way of life. Yeah. So that's my first poem. And actually, I'll be reading 3 pieces. I was trying to read one other poem, but I cancelled. And this one is actually a reply to Robert Frost. You know? He wrote, the road not taken. So I wrote the road taken. Okay. Actually, it's in the context of Mizoram. I think most of you who came outside Mizoram, you came by flight. But if you come by road, actually you'll experience this. Okay, so this is called the road taken. There is one road in a yellow wood, yellow because the road is as dusty as can be. This road is taken every day in and out by travelers, merchants, the ailing, and also the lover to visit his love far away. The road is dusty in winter and muddy when it rains, but it is left off, bare, to fend for itself. This road is used by many every day, by the people of Mizoram, lifeline they call it. But this lifeline is always never healthy, for it is not cared for at all, bumpy, dusty, muddy. This road has seen better days back when I was young, my son. Now it has become old and weary. This road is taken every day unrest by the workers, the tippers, and the coolies, those who toils day in and night for the people. But this road has taken the life of the workers, not because the driver is drunk or reckless, but the road, yes, the road is terrible, and wicked are those who are in charge of the road. And when the workers protest for better road, they are taken to jail and away goes the movement. Those in power, those corrupt, and the dirty contractors have taken away the road. The lifeline of the people has funded their extravagant, luxurious lifestyle. And I shall be telling this with a sigh, not in ages and ages, but today and tomorrow. Even if 2 roads diverge, when you enter Mizoram, take any road. It will be both atrocious and terrible. It won't make any difference anyway, I'm sure. So that's the second. And the last is actually the title itself is a pun in a way. So it's called Spill the Tea of the Colonizers. I drink the tea my ancestor once opposed to protect the land, their way of life, and drinking this tea do I compose poems of what was, is, and will further be. I take in the aroma my ancestors were foreign to. I discuss theories and histories with the tea in hand, picturing my ancestors drinking zufang and zupui. Now I am only allowed to drink tea, no other, no other. My ancestors spill the tea from the tables of the white man in the land stolen. When the pasaltra stand, the white men once flee, but still I drink the tea they once spilled in the land stolen. Yes, I drink the tea planted in the land stolen by the white man forcing others to labor, to profit and expand, and force us to carry the white man's burden. Now the tea is everywhere, and dare I say, everyone exerts and experiences tea, once opposed, now embrace, internalize. No one is conscious enough to spill the tea anymore. But drink the tea from the lands once stolen, but do not be them, my son, my dear. Our ancestors have once fought against it, but failed. So hold the tea in hand and drink away. You have been captured. You are in chains. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tatea. If you listen to his love poems, you'll be surprised at how this very bold, angry voice can have so much emotional and sensitive side. I think that was a really wonderful poem, and I think all the poetry that we've heard confirms my earlier statement that these are one of the most bold and authentic voices of contemporary Mizo poetry. Next, we have Casey Lalhruaitluanga, and I think Casey is the only one who can rightfully claim the title of young poet amongst us. So he's currently doing his second year in. He's a student of psychology, yes, at Patsungo University College, and he is also the joint secretary of Zoro Youth Writers Club, which is a very small club but very active literary club for young writers. And his poetry, I think, can be seen as a cry of frustration against political and social stagnation, and it kind of argues that clinging to pseudo intellectualism or conservative ideas is useless while the world burns. So let's hear it from Casey.
The pressure is quite high after all that, you know. So, uh, this I just want to start off by saying that I listen to quite a lot of hip hop, and so I think there's going to be quite a bearing in what I'm saying in my poem. And thank you. Yes. And we went to this Puzairema Memorial once, and I think I was awake for about 2 days with the bed, and I had not slept, and I was just bored out of my mind trying to listen. So I was like, okay, let's make use, and so I decided to write the poem, and here goes Ka'a Zodon. Out of my mind, the signs tell me this is not right. High functioning metabolism due to lack of sleep, I fight the waking world that tells me what Zo is and is not. Because, yes. Out of my mind, the signs tell me this is not right. High functioning metabolism due to lack of sleep, I fight the waking world that tells me what Zo is and is not. The seats relatively red, with madness against the whole lot. Brooding gray hairs against the soothing sway dance of pseudo bald-headedness and mute pause impotence, of mind-numbing timbre and right-wing timber. The subtle conservative hues thumping rebuttals of alternative views, leaving behind only bygone doubts and so long thoughts. I see the inner me. Do I need it? I'm pleading, Jesus, sweat, tears, heart beating. Should I let fears scar breeding? I'm out here lard eating, heart thumping, bombs dropping. I see children with their souls sobbing, entire family trees wiped off while I tire happily see baptismal deeds, all for society's needs. Please, let down the gun, reloading with bullets made from human skin. It's all lacing, we gotta tear down like Berlin. I kick sweet chin music, the pixel is non-therapeutic. I don't dream lucid, I just see suited brows with skulls that are too thick. But ain't no head where the crown cherubic. It's too sick to let them get away with all this. Pause this, let it sink in, Captain Edward Smith. The world is on fire and we all lit. But we shall commit despite the command to all split. The thinkers have only thoughts to submit, the actions is up to transmit. These ashes of bones may crush hope, but when we hang the last fat cat with his own rope, we shall fill our lungs with the fight smoke. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Casey. That was a very powerful poem. And what struck me more than his poetry was his ability to recite all that out. I don't think any of us can manage here. And hence, young poet. No, he title rightly deserved. And last but not the least, we have Ramlo Dinpuia. Again, he's also one of the most prolific contemporary Mizo poets. He has published 2 poetry books to his name, Rol Taru Orol and Tina Tashui. I think Ramlo is one of the most frequently cited figures in Mizo literary studies and held in very high regard by both academicians and scholars when it comes to research on Mizo poetry. His work spans a diverse range of themes, and it offers a very powerful critique of how modernity and westernization can and have diluted cultural values and identity. And many of his poems transcend local context to explore universal philosophical questions about the nature of life and human existence. And he will be doing his reading in Mizo language, and I think this is what makes a session all the more diverse, because this, I think, is the only bilingual session in this fest. So please give it up for Ramlota.
Thank you, Hannah. I'm a little bit late, and for that I would like to apologize firstly. because I have just reached from Zongte, so anh ta thuần le mai Zongte trai ngalo thing che kan bol sok sok ngalo kal ngala em che ke piro re la kan kala lai ka ngai poi mo siam han mo den ngalo thing a mizo trong in ka cheer do na mizo ni lo tan chung che thiam har deu mai thiam a ro chu yang ang in kan cheer ange pakhat na hi thaler thi film hi ani a kan cheer ange thaler thi film chang kan na chang cho in chak kan che ka ma so na ming mu ma sa kan ni theinan ti in ming than na le ro pui na umin kan buaya siam chop khovela kutta lo kor in belin leiro chan tiang khomin in ro pui kan sa a nem na na nei lo chorum kan in bara aru kol chau khelin lim nei lo thing kan bela dan duan chop pangin kan in phuara chai sual le che sual lau reng rengin nun le nangom lo nun kan manga na nei lo tui kan tlana wangin kan vun aro zota thalera atop khen thuai tumatlan ten than sem dai tu thi film lutna kan muka na ele bar le ngel nge na chau hisap tu chuan mamo le tangkai mangin te phung kan khaya su matan sum chau kan than ta wangin sum holo lam kan nual suata ma se hezin konga hian mi hringin mamoa in riat pialama ro puina le lo tlinna kan te na le liama chuan kan nunin amamo ni lo kan nun chan jok kan ke pen hruaya min nor tu min choka min cher khong tu alo om reng si hin lung ke chekara changin tui fi ma lo luang choka liam na taka wanga sir nung nge chu pangpar moi bera chantirani hui kim lo ri moi ri moi bera thlasik thon thuin ngai ala ber nge thin hen masak tuma kanin tlan siaka ading chang ber kan ni theina na kan velami kan vai tluka midang ona tur thang kama kan man hel lai hian a chang chau tal chuan lamoya lo chol ve thin la hui kim lo ri moi ngai tha in thaler thi film hi lo dong ve thin ta che la lim noya chuan in the shadow of poetry there is heart sol na tak tak a om si a chang chuan indo na kan lom thinin ka ria mizo context a phei chuan Donald Trump te lo lan phei chuan in thil ti thei powerful de strong man te kan ngai sang in ka re thina thil ti thei in tha buai na in be buai na hi kan ngai sang lu tu khian ka re thin chuti chuan indo na muak tu te hne na chuan indo na chu lom takin an lo muaka ne na chan thein ringin chak jok ni the in nga in indo na chu lom takin an lo muaka indo na chuan ro pui no min an hria a indo na chuan thil ti theina en tir ni nan nga ya indo na chuan ming than nan hmuwa indo na chuan rem chang an hmuwa indo na in tram aron thena indo na in nu naw aron nuai huna khopui zong arama ko thera thisen aluan huna chuan bai vai taka naw pangan tra huna thom zoi ber poin habar na athen huna chuan indo na hian ne tu a om thei lova indo na chuan ro puina then chuang lo ti an la ron theve ma na a to bera chuan so lai sonin e ka thian pa pha to mo lung lei lamania e ubena po lung lei lam ani ka ria lung lei lam tan dewa he thile ka siania maro su ke mai lung lei ka ni mi lova e lung lei college kan kal thina iso ka lo phei kan ka buai khop maya chumi chung chang vel chu 3402 ti ni chim kho pui changin kalo kala leitlang pui tia du ten kan soi khuang roin ro pui arela chuma jin na wang khuwa chang chuan jingchang le sar chief ket kengin zol kho pui tual ka chuana thua ma thenom thiang in lo in thut theng sei le television tel lovin in ben bela rualel ve ka tuma ma se khoya nge ka di le tri la ui kunga lam khuang ra ka mulova sakei bak buk hre mai la sakei bak nei ka hriat si lo chuan thing cheng kan ni tlat si koyam ke mol chungin kol thei lei tur ka zong fowa nu nun nge thing fang ma hri sel jok aob soi romin tia ek le eng soi na chang ka rebok si lo va NGHO ngo VRR var ngo var luya len de nga zalen thin kha tui lian len na thelanga zalen na nei lo ka lo ni ta kan khuwa dikha mi khuwa lo dik velova tha kan ti dan le kan hriat dan po alo inang lo ka dik vek lo ti ka hre chianga ma se ka dik lo vek big lo ti po ka hre chiang pom na kan pom tlan thei huna zo thi sen thiang lim hi om na le ngai da na san wang maya pol dal le chen san thei ani lo ti kan le thiam ve ma na ka lo me
Ramlo ta van ngai nom chin em. Thank you so much. I think we have time for a short Q&A or comment session. Anyone from the audience? Stunned in silence, I think, yeah. Yeah, I think to close this session, one thing we've heard Mizo poetry, we've heard English. Yes, we have one question from Sanjoy.
Essentially, apart from the last poet whose poetry was very powerful, I couldn't understand it though. I apologize for that. Do all of you write only in English, or do you write in Mizo also? But do the others also write in Mizo?
I've never written one. I've never written one.
I think most of us just write in English. Jacqueline has written one in Mizo. So Casey is also like trying to write in Mizo. He's still working on his Mizo poetry, I think. Yeah.
And these are available online, or your poems in book form, or have they been published together in a collaborative, or what? I'm just addressing to the whole group.
Personally, I just keep most of my poems to myself, and then like just bring them out like whenever these kind of events happen, because I sometimes they're a little bit personal. Sometimes like I'm not open to like a lot of public criticism. So some of my poetry personally like Tatea and Ramlo's poems, like they bring up a lot of controversial social issues that most Mizo audiences will not appreciate. So like I'm just a little bit hesitant. Yeah.
Some of our poems, So Youth Writers Club, is also out in our magazine, Zangte magazine, and you can also get that. Yes, in IG as well, we have a Zoe Youth Writers Club, and we also post our poetry there.
I think besides my page on Instagram, I've had some of my young poems published in the Sentinel, Assam, I think. But those that was a very long time ago, and in L Official ones. Apart from that,
so actually already published 2 poetry books, but both of them is in Mizo. So yeah, but yeah, both of them is like you cannot buy it at the store right now because we're going for reprint. So yeah, I think that's it. And my English poems actually it can be seen on my IG page also. Some of them, but not all of them. Yeah. I only write in Mizo, but some of my works is translated in English. I'm not sure, but some of them are already. I think some of them are already published in many anthology, and in Mizo I already published 2 books.
I think just as an idea, it'd be nice to have a collection, published collection of young Mizo poets. I don't think anything like that exists in English. That would be something you can think of.
Yeah, I think we can keep that in mind and work on an anthology or something like that. Yeah. If there are no more comments and questions, I think we can close the session for now. But before we end, I just want to say that the language was very diverse. The theme and the topic or the issue might sound very diverse, but I think one thing which binds all the poetry that we've listened is about being fearless about who you are, being fearless in the face of society, political injustice, and whatever is happening in the world around us. I hope we continue to write. I hope we continue to appreciate poetry, because I think looking at where the world is heading, we're going to need poetry more than we ever did. Thank you very much. Let's give a big round of applause for these wonderful poets.